Hello, everybody. Welcome to Left Hand, Right Brain. I hope this podcast finds you well. And back in studio with Chris Stiffler. He wrote a book on economics not too long ago. He's a college professor and comedian.
That's right to be, yeah, comic.
Yeah, don't we all?
I feel like I didn't call myself a comic last time a year ago, but I feel like I've been.
Yeah, I think I gave you the confidence to, right?
Yeah.
I remember
Do
telling
some more
you
open mics
no one's going to dub you, so you got to...
You got to do it yourself.
Yeah, where have you been going? I haven't seen you out once.
I just been Western
haven't
Sky.
seen you out once.
That's true. That's why I can't get on your show until I prove myself to you. I've been doing a set. I've been doing open mics at Open Sky, but I haven't really done there since they moved to Sundays.
Oh, well... Oh, yeah. Western Sky.
Western Sky, sorry.
Yeah, I was like, wait, is
open,
that
open Big
different?
Sky. Montana.
Different Sky thing? Yeah, big Montana guy, huh?
I'll tell you another good open mic I've done a couple times is the one Steamboat on Thursdays.
Oh, you're hitting the mountain towns, huh?
When you get a little ski trip and then hit it's a cool little spot at a pizza joint. And there, you have more time. They'll give you like 10 easily because there's only 4 or 5 comics want to do.
Yeah, that's your thing is you want more time. You were resistant to the Comedy Works New Talent Night because you only got
2 minutes. Yeah, I have signed up since that. As I talked to you, I put your name in.
You put my name in?
Yeah. I just wear a cowboy hat and everybody assumes I'm JD from Greeley. What is it about, like 8, 9 times before you even get a chance?
All right. Well, I just started the camera, so sorry. Surprise.
Sorry.
Could start over again, or I might just put like a oops thing in front of that. But welcome to Left Hand, Right Brain again, everybody. Didn't have the cameras on. Sorry, I get nervous when Stifler's in the building. Okay,
it's the hat.
Yeah, it's the hats. It's a hat off. All right,
It's a hat off.
Yeah, you got more. You got more in the arsenal than me, dude. I mean, this guy came to the last Comedy Save the Video Star rocking a brand new hat, brim I haven't even seen before. I was like, that's a dope ass brim. Just
Feather in the hat like you.
Yep, you fucking knocked it out of the park, buddy. I mean,
Your buddy Patrick was impressed with it, I think.
yeah. Everybody's impressed by the hat. They don't want to admit it, but they are. Like you're saying, I think on the last podcast, you're like, you can wear a hat and just get into Costco without a membership.
That's true. That's a good premise. I need to write that up. I want to put that in
You
my
said that
comedy
a lot
book.
last time, too. I thought we had some good bits. Come to find out, you haven't done any of them.
Yeah. I'm writing them down. I brought the notebook down this time.
Okay, yeah. Or you could just re-listen. It is on YouTube, wherever you get your pods. Hey, check out Left Hand, Right Brain on YouTube, everybody. Smash that like button. I wish I had a boing sound effect or something, but Chris Stiffler.
Smash it.
Yeah, smash it.
I did perform, and I gave you a shout out at Western Sky, doing the ballot stuff a couple Tuesdays ago. We did a whole talk on the statewide ballot issues and
voting. Was it ranked choice voting?
Yeah,
which went down in Colorado, right?
It did not pass. Yeah.
Well, because there was something about like how the ultra elite can influence the voting in with that.
Yeah, there was it was like 2 different things. It was open primary, which I think a lot of people would say the most money was going to get on the ballot.
All right, let's just describe it a little bit for the people who
Yeah, it was a Proposition 131, I think.
Okay,
it just recently went down. It's basically 2 things. It was open primary, so instead of Republican primary and a Democrat primary, everyone's opened, so you could get 3 Republicans on the ballot and 1 Democrat, or 2 Republicans, 1 Wiccan candidate, or Green Party, whatever. And then it's actually Wiccan. I said Wicker the other day, and someone corrected me.
Wiccan, yeah.
I think it's
along the lines of a coven,
a basket weaving
wicker. A wicker coven. It's a little different.
So open primary, and then for certain elections, it was going to be ranked choice. And so instead of picking your top pick, you actually would go through and say, JD is my top pick, but my second pick is Chris. My third pick is Harrison. Joke I made there was it was sponsored by the ink pen companies, just to get us to fill a lot more circles on their ballot.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That gets a good laugh from 70-year-old women in the crowd.
Right.
That's most of my comedy.
Is that a lot of? Were there a lot of 70-year-old women coming to your?
When you talk town hall meetings.
Oh, okay. Is that where you're doing
Saturday morning town hall meetings about democracy and voting and?
Yeah, it's a lot of old ladies.
Yeah.
Dude, I bet you could clean up.
That might be my new.
I mean, we were talking about dating on the last one. I mean, that might just be like, could open it up, just go a higher age range, and.
Well, you have that margarita bit, right? You have the.
Yeah.
Are you still doing that one?
Yeah, oh yeah. That's my closer, baby.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I did it on Thursday in Greeley, and it
Nice.
killed.
Really?
Yeah, I added a new bit that Andreas gave me actually on our new tag that Andreas gave me on the show because I talk about my wife being in a coven. And if you guys don't know, the premise of the joke is, that I meet this older lady at the gym. She hits on me. I'm resistant at first, but then eventually we bring her in as a third in our marriage. And the tag that Andreas gave me is, Margarita joined the coven, everybody. All right. So
it calls back to the earlier
yeah, and
coven
it
bit.
got a big pop on
Nice.
Thursday. So thank you. That's why it's good to have friends in comedy,
To add the tag.
Yeah, add the tag at see it come from a different angle. You're not quite you might not be quite seeing on a joke.
So do you write with a partner?
No, but it always helps to have somebody listen to your set that, I think you gel with.
And then you could call back here. You could, how about this tag?
Yeah.
Same with editing like a book, or even let it sit for a couple months and then re-edit, and you're like, oh, that's not bad. And then you see stuff that you're like,
yeah.
Are you too close to it initially?
Yeah, you got to get some distance. Yeah, like any artist with their, killing your darlings is a common phrase in the art community.
Yeah.
Everything's too precious when you do it. You're like, I can't get rid of this descriptive thing in my book about.
Well, you spend so much time writing it, and no one likes it.
Yeah.
I found it helps me as I have a parking lot.
Okay.
Like the document is called parking lot or graveyard. Some people call it graveyard. And so when they cut something from the writing, they're not going to use it. They at least move it to the parking lot, so it's not dead. It's not killed or like eliminated forever. It lives in the parking lot, but it's not going to live in the real draft that gets published.
Okay.
And I found that an easier way to kill things, but they're not quite.
Yeah. It's you're putting them in purgatory in a way.
Purgatory,
they're there, but
purgatory.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, because you didn't quite kill, but it's an easier framing device for your mind to be like, it's not gone. It's just a little different. Yeah. That's good. I like that a lot. Yeah. A lot of people take out things like, oh, this is a good punchline or whatever. Like, this is a funny premise, and they'll put it somewhere else. Or like just write it down, but get rid of it in your bit. Because I mean, the thing with like my buddy Patrick is always just like, trim the fat, get to the joke sooner,
Yeah.
And I'm always arguing with him. It's like, no, I want to be a storyteller. Like, I want to I'm always trying to expand bits to be 5 minutes versus he's just like, set up punchline. He's like, you got to just get to the joke sooner.
Yeah, it's different comedy, right?
It's a difference in, and he gets booked more than me. So arguably he's, right. So I don't know. It's a different style. It's a different way of going about it.
But he has a really pretty good rhythm, right? He's kind of bop.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of almost bouncing, like you're kind of getting, once you get him in a rhythm, bop.
You're talking about just the audience when you're
when you are a setup punchline, versus a storyteller that has more tags and quips and.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you still have a bunch of smaller tags building up to a big tag at the end. You still want that like laughs per minute thing with storytelling, but I'm always trying to expand an idea to go longer. I guess I don't know. I like that.
Yeah, that's what my comedy buddy always says. Heighten. He's an improv guy, so he's like improv is like. In his world, you're only given one tool. That the audience gives you one thing and one suggestion, and you really have to expand the hell out of it and heighten. And so he always criticizes my bits of like, okay, that's one bit, but there's a whole 5 minutes if you keep heightening.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because the improv thing is all, you have a team, you're working with the team. That's a whole thing. So that's collaborative in that respect as well.
Well, yes, anding, right? And then like always like feeding, you're lobbing up to your partner and then letting him or her hit it.
Yeah, and I do like the idea of going off on tangents and things, but ultimately, you come back to your original thesis, ideally, and me trying to use college words with the professor here.
Erudite. Lucubration.
Wow. Okay, that's a racy one. All right. You're going to have to bleep that. All right.
No. I think that means study at night.
But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to put in that first 5 minutes I have on the recording or not, but Chris Stiffler, right? College professor, comedian, been doing comedy a lot more. You started a podcast with Mike Lucas.
Mike Lucas is a pro. He's been on Conan and like The Late Show and like late 90s, early 2000s. He started a family, so the last 10 years he's been building a family down in Dallas, Texas. He's been writing books, and so he has 3 comedy books out on Amazon. The Comedy Muscle series, Funny Muscle. Funny Muscle is better website. He has 2 websites. And I just helped him edit that book, Spin Kick. So he wrote a novel, martial arts novel, like a page turner, beach read. And there's his Funny Muscle books. And so
Dr. Peter McGraw, I've had him on this podcast.
have he?
Yeah.
We invited him on our podcast, and he said no. But we got we got his other guy that wrote some of the studies with him, Dr. Caleb Warren.
Yeah.
Who did the what's their theory? The benign violation.
Yeah, benign
theory.
violation. That's another man who loves hats. I think he's wearing a Stetson Open Road right there. We've been talking hats. Yeah, well, I was setting up the studio. We were just mad hat talk, everybody. I got it out of the way.
So we don't have to bore the audience with it.
Yeah. So we did talk quite a bit about hats on the last one, but just fine with me. But yeah.
Yeah, so he's a writer and a comedy coach.
Okay.
And I hooked up with him because I reached out to him, and we decided to turn our coaching sessions into a podcast.
Okay.
So he plays veteran comic, new teacher, and I play kind of professor, new veteran teacher, new comic.
Gotcha.
And that's kind of the yin and the yang, and he coaches me a lot on getting through my first year of comedy more efficiently.
Well, it's kind of your second year of comedy.
Yeah, and I'm in my second year, yeah. Yeah. But he always he really harps on me and is like, okay, Chris, that's a decent joke, but it's a pun. It's a dick joke. It's like, oh, well, that's funny. You gotta laugh. But he's like, does that mesh with your comedy lens? He's really good at, he wants me to make sure all my bits hit my comedy lens. So I have a coherent kind of persona that people recognize. So in his first book, he really talks about how you develop your comedy lens. And so you ever go see comedy and you laugh the whole hour, but the next day at the office, you have no idea. You can't remember any bit.
Right. Yeah.
Where if you go someone who has a really unique lens.
Yeah, like Seinfeld or something.
Yeah, then you can remember their bits so much more because they have that unique lens.
Yeah.
Versus what he calls a corner quipper. Where just but anyone could tell them. Whereas you can't tell, I couldn't do Seinfeld's bits as much. Because his, I couldn't do Larry David's bits. I couldn't do Amy Schumer's bits. Because they're I couldn't do Dangerfield.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, those are a little more but it's him saying it.
But it was his lens, though. He has that, I get no respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, because it'd be hack if you started saying what he said. I mean, that's so him.
Yeah, if you said, if you try to, I showed up to, my wife met me at the door the other night in a see-through negligee. The problem was she was coming home. You couldn't do Dangerfield. But you remember that bit because you associate it with his lens.
Yeah. His voice, his delivery, everything about him was that. So that's true. It's transcended. Just a bop.
So what's your lens? What's your lens?
I don't know, dude. I have no idea. There's another thing. I was just talking to another comic, Katie Bowman, about this. She's been getting into clowning, and we did a whole thing on clowning in college. It's like an acting thing. Yeah, it's kind of like Commedia dell'arte thing. So it's you have a character, a certain point of view you're coming from that you build off of.
Sorry.
It's all right.
I'm trying to get my Christmas mug here, my coffee.
You got it. And there's a table right behind you if you want to put it up there. Also, what do you have in your mouth? You zinning? What's going on here?
Oh,
I'm just getting a little bit of a. If you don't want to talk about it,
we were talking about oral surgery. I have a fake tooth right now. I have a retainer that's a fake front tooth.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So before I actually fixed a dent on my retainer,
Okay, sorry. I thought maybe you were zinning or something. You're gonna pop out 3 zins.
It's weird to have a retainer as a 38-year-old now again, but until I have an implant.
So. All right. Well, sorry to what happened?
Just a lot hitting the mouth and playing basketball.
Oh, okay. Rough life, huh? And you did the burro race. I don't know if you got kicked or something.
We can talk about that if we want to get into that.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay. You gotta get hats, burro racing. We're still talking about comedy lens.
Yeah, well, yeah. So we're talking about the clowning, and so one of the things in the clowning is you got to pick a persona. And mine was always a young street tough trying to prove how strong he, hey, I'll get you. I had a big Newsy boy hat or something. Yes, because you kind of have a something you wear. So I guess hats have always influenced my my comedy or my personality, I suppose. But I had this big Newsy boy hat that I would wear, and the character was always trying to be tougher than they were, trying to prove themselves through so I get offended easily. I mean, oh, I got to prove, why I oughta kind of shit. Which was fun then. And I don't know I feel like that's still kind of seeping out of my comedy now. I'm trying to be smarter than, I have this whole bit I've been trying to work out about reading audiobooks or listening to audiobooks is still, I'm smart. listened to more books than you've read. You know, not you specifically, but like most people.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, you didn't actually read them. I'm like, yeah, but I still have.
Oh, your
the
imagination
book is in there. Like, I have. Would you tell Obama that, you know, if like he read a book or like he had fucking someone else come read him the Bill of Rights or whatever, that he didn't know the Bill of Rights or whatever, you know, whatever. You know, I was just, that was my go-to, that Morgan Freeman read something to Obama. Like, would you tell Obama he didn't like have that knowledge in his head? Because someone said Obama's favorite book was Sapiens, and I've listened to Sapiens. So me and Obama, I'm just as smart as Obama. Like, you know, we got the same thing in our head. But people just, they're so dismissive, and it's frustrating.
For audiobooks.
Yeah. And so like, I'm trying to like, so I mean, that's me trying to be like, hey, no, I'm smart. Like, I have value. I mean, that's that kind of character coming out.
Huh.
But I think I'm trying to sell it more as like a, hey, I'm smart, or like, hey, I fuck you. Like, it's more of like a stingy, like
smart, or
like I'm just trying to like get back at them in a way, versus like the being vulnerable, I guess, might be more where the comedy could come from.
And how do you get that out? Like, so a crowd of
fuck you, I'm smart. I listen to books.
That's how you open it up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because that's one thing Mike always harps on, is how do you get your persona out in the first minute? Because you're talking to strangers who don't know you yet.
Yep.
So how do you get the
way you dress could be a way, the way you approach the stage, something in acting was like when you are going up to slate something, like when you just like go up, come on to when you're auditioning, you just walk it in front of these people. Like, that is like the first chance for you to tell these people who you are.
Shoulders back,
you're supposed to, and even the way you say your name, like, hi, I'm JD Lopez, I'm here to audition for blah blah blah. Like, the way you say that, like, they made you say, hi, I'm JD Lopez over and over and over, and they had the whole class be like, I remember the most damning one was someone said, it sounds like you're like ashamed of your name, or you're embarrassed to say your name.
Oh.
And I was like, fuck. Yeah, so like, I mean, I don't know, presenting yourself in a certain way, and that's something I always tried to like bring into stand-up, you know, because when you come onto the stage, when you're introduced, that's that moment.
So what do you say, like 10 seconds before I'm going to introduce you? Are you running through something in your head? You puffing your shoulders up? You taking a big breath? What do you?
I mean, I guess this is, I mean, something I've been getting or trying to overcome more recently is like, someone told me, it's like, it seems like you're trying to ask the audience, do you think this is funny, as opposed to introducing just saying the joke as if I know it's funny. Yeah. So I've been like, hey, do you guys like this? So like, just knowing, having confidence in the thing you're bringing into the bit. And then I did some shows with Ethan Everhart recently. He was like, maybe you're too relaxed on stage. It's like, it seems like you don't care. You're too aloof now. Cause that's what I was always trying to go for, aloof now. Like, I don't give a shit. So he's like, maybe you're too.
And then this audience might not like that either. They
yeah. Cause I'm just like, you know, hey, blah, blah, blah. Da, da. You know, I'm like, too above it.
Isn't that fickle? Like, you can have...
It is. There's a fine line, you know. You want to be engaged, but you also, I don't know, in some other comedy book I heard someone else talking about was you want to introduce your bits as if you're telling them to a friend that you haven't seen all day, but you've been dying to tell them this thing.
That's a good...
Yeah,
okay.
So that was like the framework for like, Pete Holmes said that. I remember.
And so I can see you're exciting.
You're engaged. You're trying to like engage with the audience. The audience scares me, to be honest. It's hard for me to engage. So I think maybe that being aloof thing was a
protective thing. Or...
Yeah, I could see that.
So, but you could say the exact same words and get crickets.
Oh yeah,
and say the exact same word and just absolutely crush if you have a corduroy jacket on and your shoulders are back.
It's all about that connection with the audience. It's if they trust you, if you like it, if they like you. There's a lot of this unsaid, like, you know, just dynamic in that live performance. That's hard. It's hard to.
Well, that's what. Okay, so one time I saw you at the brewery a couple months ago.
Oh yeah, the one on
Christy
Wadsworth
was headlining.
Yeah.
And but you said, I can't believe that one comic. I forget who it was. He opened up with, he kind of like punched at the audience. He said something like, "Do you ever get a feeling when you're in audiences you could beat up everyone in the room?"
Yeah, that's aggressive.
But is that his persona? Was he going for like?
Well, it was surprising to me because I've seen him before. I can't remember his name. Delgado.
Okay.
I think his last name's Delgado. George Delgado.
He was up on the...
He's never been on any of my shows, but you know, he's a fun guy. I've seen him before, and he's like a gentle, nice dude.
Yeah.
And then I feel like he kind of 180'd since the last time I saw him. He was very aggressive with the audience, and I didn't know if that's
that was his purpose. He was going to keep that lens the whole
set. Yeah. I think he did. Yeah, because he was kind of like yeah, like fuck you guys. I'm.
But maybe it was strategic. But you could see a couple of guys in the room, kind of like. I don't think you can beat me up.
Oh, really? I didn't. Yeah, I was just like, wow, he said that. Like, I wasn't. checking out the audience, I guess I was just like, wow, it seems a lot more aggressive than I'd seen him be before. So, because I'd only seen him out at open mic, so this is the first show I'd seen him on, and it was a lot more aggressive, I guess is the word I keep saying. But because, like I said, it was just such a juxtaposition of how gentle he was, like talking to him. You know, he's softer spoken, like nice guy. And then him coming out with that is like, whoa,
beat everyone up his ass in this brewery.
Yeah, and he kept being like, I mean, he threw some things out there, like basically like, hey, fuck you guys, like that's funny, or you know, fuck you guys.
Yeah, right.
Like,
but that
he did that a couple times, so that he stayed consistent with it, and they didn't not like it. It was just, I guess I would be too scared to do that because I don't think my material matches.
Right, it wouldn't match, and then it's weird that your audiences can sense that. Like, if you don't go 100% on the bit, it's like, he's trying, but it like makes them feel awkward. It's like the same feeling when you see an open micer just bomb, and like you just in like an audience member like,
oh yeah, it's awkward. Yeah.
Or what's the?
Yeah, I think I was just at Western Sky not too long ago, and I was saying some newer jokes, and I kept being like, oh, you guys didn't like that, blah blah blah. I guess you guys aren't this kind of crowd or whatever. You guys don't go to Costco or whatever. It's a fine out, but I was like, oh, I need to stop apologizing for like.
Unless you want,
them not liking it or me not presenting
the lens
it well.
You want to be, but if you want to be confident, I would think you couldn't do that.
I want to be confident, yeah, for sure. But for me, it's always hard for me to figure out whatever my lens is. It's like, I don't know if I'm like insecure guy. I was talking to somebody and I was like, super, like I'm super into my wife. Like I love my wife. I was like, could that be my character? He's like, I was talking to Patrick about it. He's like, yeah, you could be like simp guy or something, like I'm a simp for my wife. But I don't know if I could do a whole character out of it. And then you like that my Larry the Cable Guy. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if that's my Larry the Cable Guy.
Well, if you pick 3 words, that's what Mike's book makes you do in the first chapter is 3 words you should be able to describe your comedy lens.
Yeah.
But he asked me, it's like, how would your friends or your wife or your parents or anyone close to you describe your humor?
Yeah, cool's not the right word. I want it to be cool. But also, I think that hurts you in comedy because cool guys aren't funny, you know?
Well, sometimes you like the underdog or...
Yeah, you want like an underdog or nerd. You like autistic dude, who does one-liners. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no one wants to... I mean, I guess some comics have like leaned into cool. I feel like Dane Cook was like considered cool for a while, but he didn't start off as cool. Like you build your comedy doing other things, and then I think like pop culture catches up, or you get fitted into it somehow. Chris D'Elia, I think people considered him cool when he first started out. Maybe Tosh a little bit, Daniel Tosh, but he was also very like aggressive. Or
he was a little negative and sarcastic, and
overly
he
sarcastic.
Knew his persona.
Yeah, I want to do that, but
what would you say is Jeselnik?
Humble. Yeah, Jeselnik I think is cool, but like arrogant.
He's arrogant and dark.
Yeah, arrogant, and dark, and fashionable. I don't know.
Oh, I saw Whitney Cummings last week. Okay. What would you say her comedy lens is?
It's funny because she's like to me, I've listened to her podcast a lot, and she's like the female version of like a pickup artist. I feel like, how they're like deconstructing like men and women shit all the time. Like men are like this, women are like this. Like she read all those books too, but she's coming at it from the female perspective.
And it has a funny take on it. It's like it's like she's gonna do the joke about dressing up in drag, but it's gonna make it's a really clever take on it.
Yeah.
Did a bit on that when I saw the Paramount. I think it was 2 weeks ago.
You see the big shows. Because you said you saw Seinfeld last time.
I got lucky. Got tickets to Seinfeld at the Belco.
That's like a whole different experience to see a comic in a huge arena.
Like 5,000 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as intimate. It's kind of fun to be like go to the indie wrestling show and be a part of the dark room, small crowd.
Yeah, you like that better?
Yeah. I think pound for pound, the best show I saw I saw Billy Gardell.
Okay, I've heard of him.
Dollar for Dollar, Mike and Molly guy, I think.
Yeah.
Pittsburgher. But for $30 tickets, he's a pro. I mean,
yeah, he's good.
Or even get a tail tickets before he has Netflix special. $30, less than that on Sunday nights at Comedy Works. I think dollar for dollar, that's better than paying $150 to see Schultz at Paramount. But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to beat that intimate experience, especially at Downtown Comedy Works. I mean, that's a whole vibe. It's a whole. I mean, that place is built for comedy, so I think a show's always going to be better there. I mean, comedy's supposed to be there.
Just low ceiling, like.
Yeah. What do you? I mean, any big takeaways from seeing a show at the Paramount or whatever versus a comedy club? Like,
Yeah.
are they doing more hacky stuff? Is it tricks? Like, what is the big jumpertrons taken away from?
But I saw Schultz this year. I saw Bill Burr.
Schultz is talking about like having a family and stuff now.
Yeah. And to be honest, he did a great 10. He started with a really good 10 that was unique to Colorado because
okay.
he really leaned into the news about the Venezuelan migrants. Like,
yeah.
Everyone thinks in Colorado we're like run by Venezuelan migrants, and then they're running every apartment building.
Yeah.
So we leaned into that and made some jokes, and you knew it was topical because
it's what's happening.
And so you appreciate because you know it's not rote, it's not memorized. He didn't just do it in Omaha last week. That bit was written this week.
Yeah.
And there's like appreciation for the craft sometimes.
Yeah, that's nice.
Like with your callback joke to the coven.
Uh-huh.
There's like a laugh element, but there's also like that was well written. I appreciate the callback, the craft, because you call back your set from 3 minutes earlier. There's like it's like a deeper laugh to me or something.
Yeah, it's like a skill, as a trick. It's like, oh, you pulled it off, or you did a thing there.
Yeah.
An appreciation for the craft.
The craft. Yeah.
Not the movie. Too scary.
We went back to witches and
I mean, that's
Wiccan.
But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I haven't seen a big show. Like, I mean, I know Burt Kreischer does Red Rocks every year, and anybody that I've seen or talked to that went there is like, yeah, I couldn't really hear. It wasn't really. It was more just like a big party for everybody, and it's more for the comic to be like, I did that.
Yeah.
To make a really great comedy show at that point.
What's your favorite venue to do comedy at?
To do comedy?
I mean, Comedy Works
right? It's so rare for me. Yeah, I do a lot of breweries. That's fine. Some are better than others. Just like as a room, like
the acoustic wise. You mean?
Yeah,
room?
Someplace else is kind of hard because it's kind of like an L shape, and you're like in the middle. You're like in that middle of in the corner of the room. So like the bar kind of winds around to where you can't see anybody, or like people can kind of hide back there. It's just like a weird. I don't like that. That one's just harder for me.
Yeah.
I did Stella's not too long ago. That's cool because it's underground. That's just a cool little place in Greeley. And maybe, I just have a soft spot for
Is that a bar
Greeley.
or comedy club or what
It's
is
a bar. It's a bar that, but it has like a good little like corner that's like very Comedy Works-esque because there's a little stage.
Close to the crowd?
Yeah, it's close to the crowd. The ceilings are low. It's all just like brick. I don't know. It's got a cool vibe for sure. And Jared Chandler's really cultivated a nice little show there.
For like a first year comedian, what do you give advice as far as like expectations when you? Cause I give a lot of public presentations, town hall meetings, and I've realized if I'm in a church basement with a high ceiling, and there's 20 feet between me and the table of 60-year-old women that come, you can't hear even the guffaws or the or the nods because you lose them into this crowd, and so it feels like you're kind of like not connecting with the audience, but it's because you just can't hear them.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, it's a different kind of performance. You just gotta hit your beats. It's more like a play, I feel like, at that point, because you're not feeding off the audience in the same way. You just gotta hit your beats, trust that it's working, because it's worked in the past, assuming, and
just be confident.
Yeah, just be confident.
But also temper your expectations. If you don't hear the last, it might be just because.
Yeah, it's a different set. I mean, no one's going to be roaring, at a town hall meeting. It's not a comedy club. You're not going to get the same.
Oh, so this is the premise I've been working on. That might be my opener. I'm trying to talk about comedy lenses.
Uh-huh.
I love being introduced as an economist because people's expectations are so freaking low that if you make one joke every 3 minutes, you're crushing.
Yeah.
Where you're introduced as a comic, like you got to be like, 12 second laughs.
Then it's
minute.
Like a challenge. They're like, all right, make me laugh, funny man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that you're going towards these teachers, that you're looking for a comedy guru, a comedy Jedi master.
Yeah, I'm very like book. And what's the word? I study comedy like from a pedagogical. Like I love the craft. I like talking premise, setup, punchline, or do an extension, or do a rule of threes type thing, and really dissect the frog. I guess sometimes people call that.
Oh yeah, interesting. But then the practice is a lot different. How do you find that? Is that harder for you to get out and perform it? Because that's not like your favorite part of it.
That's why. So I love writing. I like writing.
Yeah, yeah. So the performing is.
Yeah, I just need to get a lot more stage time. But I talked to a lot of comedians. And they say, here's one question I want to ask you later. We'll get to it. But if you have an hour a day to do comedy,
Uh huh.
what's the equivalent of doing 100 push-ups, but for your comedy muscle?
Got to perform.
That's what some people say. But I'm looking for like drills, writing exercises,
No
and
substitute.
some pure comics just say no. You go to a shitty open mic and perform because it gets you in the flow state, and you're going to find the tags and find the way to do it.
Yeah, there's something about doing the thing is the thing, and performing is the thing. The writing is not. Writing a book, yes, not performing, because it's a lively art. It's it's different.
But then contrast it with some people at open mics have no material and just go up and think they're going to riff for 5 minutes and just.
Yeah. Some people, I mean, if they can work it out, they become improv. I mean, some people can figure it out on stage. Yeah. They can do that. So,
So that's different. That's a different skill. I wish I had that.
Yeah, it's a different thing.
Improv ability to.
Or just that confidence in yourself that you're like, I'm going to find it up there.
Oh, or otherwise it's going to be crickets. Or
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a delusional thing either way. I feel like, either I'm going to find it up there and become great at not without material, or I think that'll only take you so far, Seinfeld did the work and, you have to learn how to perform it well.
Yeah.
You should, have you listened to the Seinfeld on that Blocks podcast? That's like a master's class in like
does he talk about he talks about writing and writing and writing?
He talks about writing, but also he talks a little bit about when he started doing bigger venues, he learned that like you can't just stand in the middle. He's like, you gotta move around. You gotta start doing these things. So he gradually over time learned, what to do on a bigger stage to enhance the show, because it's a performance. And even he had said that, so it's he's not the most physical comic out there, but he's doing things that, because of the venue he's in, like that there's a whole theater is a whole thing, it's part of it.
But as far as creating material though, so outside the craft to perform, but you just think you create material on stage is what you're saying.
I mean, you can't, I mean, that's where it's all leading to. So you have to do that part. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of things come from, and the better you get at that, the better you'll get at coming up with things in the spot, or like, because I think with the pressure being on stage, you might come up with a punchline that you wouldn't have before, or you can see it in a different way because you're presenting it differently.
Yeah.
The pressure presenting it to this group of people will force your mind to think in a different way, where you could probably think of a different punchline or something that works, versus you're sitting there and you're like
open book and you're a notebook.
Yeah, it's
and
not
just
I mean, ideally you should do both, I suppose, but like, I think, that's the doing of the thing. That's the 100 push-ups a day or whatever. That's okay. So
you're one of those guys that just go on stage, always record.
I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't write, but also, I mean, that's the prep work. That's the training before the fight. That's the,
But what when you do write, say you do have, so you can't go on stage tonight, but you have an hour to work on writing.
Sure.
How do you maximize your hour?
I mean, I'm not thinking
free
about,
write?
Yeah, I'd free write more so than like, okay, how do I want to write a joke about a specific thing, and like I need 3 punchlines on this thing. I'm not doing that. I might do a fucking cloud
word map or whatever they call those.
Yeah, cloud map of it's like, okay, the idea is my Mexico trip recently. I was like,
let's take Mexico
things?
Trip cocaine, but apply it to feathers in your hat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because we were talking about in Colorado. I think in the U.S. it's illegal to have
it's a bird of something for. You can have turkey feathers, but you can't have like hawk feathers.
It's illegal to have like a eagle feather, hawk feather, unless you're like native and Native American, and not a Colorado native. Okay,
you have a bumper sticker. Hey, I can have this flag.
Yeah,
there's a joke right there. You got a tag.
Yeah, I have 3 dead eagles in my trunk because I have my Colorado native tag. Yeah,
I think that's a good joke.
Yeah, but it's all about how do you present it on stage. Yeah. Okay, how do I take it to stage now, and how do I present it to this audience in a way that they can understand, and also.
So is that enough? The idea to take it on the stage for you,
yeah,
or do you need to
I
write
would throw
it?
that out there, I mean, but I wouldn't say that's my strongest suit. Is that like I might go up with a lot of premises and not necessarily a well written out bit.
Okay,
because then I'm just more naturally in the zone of being like, okay, what do you guys think of this? I have it's illegal to have eagle feathers if you're not Native American, but I have a Denver native sticker, so I have 3 dead, whatever, blah, blah, blah's in my trunk.
But you're also telling a story about your buddy going around town asking for eagle feathers. And you
That's my father-in-law. Yeah, it's a yeah. So yeah, I was telling you about like having a fake eagle feather in my hat here, but that eagles perch on trees and stuff in Montrose, and my father-in-law was like, hey, we can probably get you a real eagle feather if you want. Just walk out into this field. And then there's a bit there. I'm like, I'm just gonna walk out into some dude's field. Like, that's not your field. Like, this guy's gonna fucking shoot me trying to get an eagle feather from this one lone tree in the middle of his goddamn field. And so we went into town, and he kept fucking asking everybody if they knew where to get real eagle feathers. Like,
as
if
like real
it was
subtle about like.
Yeah, he's like, well, no, he was too brash about it, and I was like, no, man, that's like, you might as well, like, you get in less trouble asking him for cocaine here than you would about asking him for eagle feathers. So but I don't know. I mean, that might be a hard sell outside of Colorado. I don't know. That'd be because I don't know if they're getting the same references. A lot of things. Some of the things that I even went just to Nebraska recently and did some shows, and like a lot of the pot stuff I do, which is kind of like my bread and butter here, that was not hitting there. I had to pivot. To just working at. It's like, I'm talking about shitty jobs, guys. But then I pivoted to some other job that was more relatable there. Just waiting tables at a Olive Garden, but
could you word map that? Would you start with
Mexico
feather
thing? Yeah,
feather, cocaine, and just start
feather.
and then start free writing or draw on arrows and just
I guess I would start telling the story.
Association, whatever, free association.
Yeah, I guess I would start free writing how I would just write it naturally, and then. But I always have a tendency to embellish things more when I'm writing because I don't know. I want to be a writer deep down or something. I love Lord of the Rings, and I can't help a good description.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then ideally you reread it later and be like, okay, I can pull this from that. That's funny, and then I'll just write highlights, like bullet points. A lot of things are bullet pointed in my notebooks.
And then do you have a little set list you take on?
I'll write it before. Usually, I don't. Because even when I get on stage and I'll have my book and I'll open it up and I could be looking exactly what I want to say next, I don't see it. It's just like there's something about like I'm just doing this to fill time or kill, the awkward moment. And I need to really be like, okay, focus up, just read the first fucking word right there, and then you can remember the bit.
Yes.
But it's like if I'm just like flipping through, I'm like relying more on my memory than I am actually what's in front of me. It's just the nerves, I guess, of performing on stage, especially when things are going badly. You're just trying to stay afloat. People equate it to drowning. So, and it does feel that way.
What can you, Mike Lucas?
Chris,
yeah,
I get that you're a student. You love it. All right.
Yeah. Like serious talking here.
But you're gonna have to start paying me for comedy advice here if you're not.
Okay.
I just fuck with you.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think it's interesting because a lot of things I've heard when I started, people who taught comedy were thought of as like vultures.
Yeah, that's okay.
Like, yeah. Did you have any fear of that? Of like, oh, this guy's gonna take my money and just leave me hanging? Because I know there was a guy, Chuck Roy. He taught a class here at CU Denver or DU. Community College of Denver, I think. It was on the Aurora campus. That's where my buddy Andreas first got into comedy. He was going to school there, and it's like he's the only comic I know that is still doing it from a class that Chuck Roy taught. But I mean, they're so villainized as like they're just poaching for money because they couldn't make it as a real comic or whatever. And I'm not saying this is what Mike Lucas is. I mean, he has his credits and all that jazz. It's fun. But I mean, that wasn't a red flag for you or anything like that?
We never paid anything.
That's
compromise
nice.
Was I produced the podcast, and it's like in trading for coaching.
Okay, yeah.
And so
you have value.
I hope so, yeah. And I've kind of proven that I've helped him edit some of his books, so I feel like there's a good.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
You're
adding a lot. Yeah.
I hope I do. Yeah. It's kind of weird. I haven't even met him. I've only seen him on Zoom.
Oh, okay.
For a year.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to. I don't know. I was just curious if you'd heard anything or what you thought about people.
He gets a lot of criticism. It's the same thing you're saying. Is a lot of pure comics don't like to think. Or not. I don't know how you would say it, but they craft comedy. They don't think about premise, setup, punchline, or they don't think of I'm doing an extension here or I'm doing a cut to. I'm just generally funny.
Yeah.
And I just need stage time to find the funny, and I don't need the craft.
Yeah, some of these people like internalize these things because they've seen it so much. They're a student of it, but they haven't, broken it down in such an academic way.
That's how I operate.
Yeah, which is interesting that's how you go for it.
But if you're taking golf lessons, like, you need to know grip. You need to know let's say if your joke missed and you sliced it off to the right, you either check your grip or check your shoulder rotation or make sure you had a good follow through. Or your belt was facing the right way, and but as a golf swing, I look at like comedy is the same way. Like, if you have a pedagogy or words or an outline to check when your joke failed, why did it fail? Did you not misdirect well enough?
I always think I didn't make the right connection with the audience. Like, it was my fault that I didn't communicate this well. And I mean, I guess that could be broken down to any of the things you were just talking about, but that's the blanket statement I put over.
There's your blanket statement. You were talking about that bit the other day.
Yeah, but it is fun to talk about bits, dude. I love that too. I mean, the science of the performing of it and like what makes a good joke. I do enjoy it. Yeah, but ultimately, I don't think there's any substitute for getting out and performing. But,
just think, because you have to test it, right? You can write something, but you need to figure out the audience actually.
Yeah, if they connect with it or they don't, they're ultimately the arbiter of that.
Yeah,
and because I mean, I don't know, it seems like it's different with your city council meetings or what what you're going through. It's like you have a message, you're trying to explain ranked choice voting,
right?
It's like that is what it is. I explained it. And if you don't, I mean, there's no like, did you think it was funny? Like, it's like,
right, there's
now
a
you
different
have
metric.
You have the information and that do with it what you will.
I taught you something, and so that was the goal, right? I taught you something, but if I can taught you something and make you laugh every 5 minutes, then I feel like really...
Yeah. So we didn't even get on that ranked choice voting thing, did we? Did we finish that loop?
Oh, how did we jump out? No. So it didn't... So the slide I had you in it.
Yeah.
And it was a Western Sky 2 days before your comedy saved the video saved the comedy...
Comedy saved the video star. But the thing with that is, like, you could have two Republicans in the end, as opposed to a Republican and a Democrat.
On the actual...
And that's like what's rubbing people the wrong way with, or like that's a hard pill to swallow.
The open or jungle primary part of it, I think a lot of people didn't like that idea.
Jungle primary. Wow, that's a harsh term right there.
Jungle primary.
Yeah, it's not. Just change that.
But the slide I had...
What about a gangbang primary?
I would keep going.
Let's
Bukkake primary.
Yeah, let's word map that.
See that?
Okay, yeah. So you could get two Republicans running for the same thing.
You could.
And the Democrat could be out because more people liked the Republican candidates versus...
But they'd still have to get the most primary votes. So a lot of people don't like the open jungle or primary. But then the other part was the ranked choice. So instead of voting one person, you vote for first, second, third. So the slide I had at Western Sky had me.
You, Harrison, and me.
Yeah. And you only got 17% of the vote.
I mean, that's still pretty good. I mean, that's number 3. I mean, I take it, but...
But Harrison got 43%.
Okay.
But so he would win in a regular election because he got the most votes. But in ranked choice, he didn't get 50. And so it's like another round where you got dropped off, and the people who voted for you as first
would split or would
we
have
go
to choose
we
again.
go to their second choice.
Oh, okay.
And is their second choice Harrison or Stiffler? And then in the next round, then it's down to 2 people. And so there's like multiple rounds with ranked choice voting.
It would take longer.
But you don't have to fill out another ballot because you already did it. Yeah,
okay.
they just have to.
It would take longer to calculate the votes.
And there's a lot more maybe error or people goofing up ballots is the big criticism of
not
ranked choice voting.
It. Yeah. Well, I mean, people do that all the time now with the current. Yeah, and but yeah, this 2-party system, man, does not seem to be working anyway. So, so there could be a third-party candidate that would have a better choice or chance of.
I think so. Or you're not throwing your vote away if you vote third party.
Yeah.
So I can say I feel better about voting for Jill Stein.
Yeah, then.
But I know Jill Stein's only going to get 1% of the vote. But then they'll go to my ballot and say I voted for Jill Stein first. My second choice will then count toward.
Yeah, whoever.
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, so then there's criticism that they felt like it was easier to influence. Do you know why people were saying that? Do you have any? I don't
have much data on that one.
Yeah. They did a whole city cast about it. You can go back and check. Yeah, they talked about it a while ago. They had one of the guys on that was like trying to promote it a lot here. I can't remember his name, but yeah.
That we voted on that one.
What about the big cats one?
Big cats. So the joke there. Okay, let me do some comedy. So the joke there was Trump's talking about eating cats and dogs. In Colorado, we were voting on cats and dogs. And so we had the veterinary one, which is the dog one, I said. And then we had the big cats.
Yeah. The big cats are so like if I think they give out like 500 tags or whatever to hunt a big cat.
Well, you want me to do? I'll do my bit here for you.
Okay, well, yeah, I wanted to explain what it was so that people, yeah. So that the bit is the whole thing.
That they're trying to outlaw big cats. It was Amendment 80.
Hunting big cats.
Was it? Yeah, they're not gonna. You can't be a lynx.
Yeah.
Hunting mountain lions, lynx, and bobcats. I think it is.
Okay.
And currently, we harvest. That's the word I learned. They harvest about 500 mountain lions every year.
Yeah, I heard that on CityCast as well.
But do you know how many elk we harvest or shoot?
A lot more. Like a ridiculous amount more.
What do you think?
It's like in the thousands, right? It's like 3,000,
50,000.
50,000. Okay, I was like, I think there's a big number.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So it's like that's a 10. So we're 1% of the elk we shoot. We're shooting mountain lions. How many black bear? I looked this data up.
I don't know about black bear.
What do you think?
Probably not a lot. I'd say about 500. Same.
About 1,500.
Oh, okay.
Black bear. But if you look at the black bear, so about 1,500 died last year. 300 died in traffic accidents.
Oh, interesting. Do they still have to butcher it to be eaten? Because I heard that with the big cats, they have to prepare it as if it's going to be eaten.
That's like I don't know how
That's like part of the, when you do hunt it or whatever. That's part of the deal.
So they are really meticulous. So one of the arguments was there's a bunch of scientists that maintain the herd, and they're really strict on like how many permits they give out every month. So like last December, 40% or so were all female mountain lions killed in December. So they knew that was bad for the herd. So they lowered the permits available in January and February. The point was there's a lot of scientists that control, and they're really good at their job.
Yeah, they're
and so why
up-to-date
are we
stuff.
outlawing their ability to manage permits and manage?
People don't like the idea of hunting a big cat.
Yeah,
because I think it's only for trophies or something like that.
We're correct, but it failed.
Yeah, it failed because Coloradans don't want to be told what to do. But did the fur ban go down?
I believe so. Yeah,
nice.
That was Denver specific. So
yeah.
So big cats went down. I think the veterinary one was still close to passing. That was one they're trying to make like a intermediary position between like a doctor vet and just bachelor's degree vet, like vet tech.
Okay.
Have a master's degree, kind of like a physician's assistant type position, but in the veterinary world. That was like what I call the dogs one.
So you had to have a master's degree to get in between.
It would be an in between position.
Yeah,
so right now you have to go full, like get a doctor and take all that debt to get a full license. And this would be like an intermediate, and it would allow people to level up who are like vet techs.
Yeah. I have a friend who's a vet tech.
And so they'd be able to level up with a master's, but not have to go get their doctorate or whatever, doctor.
Yeah, Joanna of the JDJO podcast, she's a vet tech.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to ask her opinion on that one.
Yeah, it would be interesting. She's busy. Yeah, so that's very interesting. So you've been doing this podcast with this guy for how long?
About a year.
About a year.
We had a guy from a voice actor this week from Finland. If you want to look up him, Improve Your Voice is his YouTube channel. It was a really fun podcast because our topic of the podcast was doing different voices, not necessarily impersonations, but when you're doing act outs in your stand up, how do you shift into like the bloviating Texan voice or the meek or surfer voice or he was a blast.
This is the guy?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. He's interesting.
And he really coached me. The really big takeaway was like, do you ever do voices?
A little bit.
Not impersonations, but just like a different character.
Yeah. Do a black guy.
Okay. All right, go for that one.
It's very deep. Very deep. No, yeah, I do like a bit about a stoner guy, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I didn't think that strain was fire, and but people just think it's funny, and I think that they're just
different than your
bitches,
voice.
So yeah, I think it's fun.
It's not an impersonation, but it's another character that you're doing.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And that was the idea of the podcast. Let's get a pro to teach us how do we do the like bloviating Texan, like and every time I try to do it,
the stereotypical Texan voice.
Yeah, just a very cartoonish,
like a Southern charm guy, like a real molassesy draw guy. No, I said I like that.
Like a syrupy, like
syrupy, yeah,
almost they're talking out there, but
molasses is coming out.
But I try to do those, and they don't sound good, and then like 3 sentences in, I kind of lose it, and that goes back to my voice. Where he really taught us to one, he told me to put a hat on. Like I had a regular ball cap, and he put it on your head like a trucker, like real high up here. And so it helps you get in the persona.
Yeah,
And they said, relax your stomach and then focus on keeping your jaw. Don't even move your jaw.
Okay, yeah.
And so he gave me like a physical
a
characteristic.
lot of physical, physical.
That allowed me to stay in the character when he was saying like, you're all hat and no cattle. And he's like, no, you're using your jaw. Pretend like you're a ventriloquist. You're all hat and no cattle.
Okay.
And he's like, now figure out how to use that voice out of your nose, almost like you're pushing air through your upper nose so it sounds more nasally. And so we did a bunch of those drills. That was like, it was a game changer.
Yeah. It's
in like just modulating your different characters.
Yeah, you're learning a skill there. I mean, that's very interesting. Yeah, I think I've seen a lot of TikToks with like impersonator guys, like the really good ones. I can't remember the dude from Mad TV, but he was talking about like Robert De Niro versus someone else, and he was talking about like how he like the shape of his face change. He has a triangle, and so everything he says is like I don't know, and you could see like his face moving in more of like a triangle-ish.
So he has like almost physical characteristics.
Yeah, he has like a whole thing he's like doing with his body that you wouldn't think about, just being like, oh, I'm trying to be De Niro, it's interesting. Like,
but almost like muscle memories.
They're really physically turning into these people.
Yeah.
So that's a good takeaway.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you associate the voice with a. So how do you associate what's your physical if you're doing the stoner?
I think of the nasal thing, just like, oh, hi,
almost like
I didn't think that shit was fire, and I guess I push my lips out, and I get nasally.
Air up here on like the top of your mouth.
Yeah, everything's up higher. Yeah, like the air is coming out like higher, like I'm trying to push it out the top of my mouth versus and then so I mean that's interesting, like things you don't think about until you're doing it and like really breaking it down. I mean that's a lot of things with like acting as well, is like. In like European acting, they all start with the body. So like your physicality, they go from like outside in. So they're not going with like, okay, what's my motivation here? They're like, how does this person walk? How does this person stand? How does this person say? Yeah. So that's how that informs their character more than Western style is like, okay, what am I feeling? And then that they build the character out from that, which is interesting. Because we did a lot of like walking things around. We're just walking around, okay, like
really like a strut. So getting a strut, that's gonna form your acting.
Yeah, or, an emotion, or like what are your intentions, or what are you trying to portray? Like your, I can't remember the exact word, but it's like, what are you trying to do in this scene? Like what's your overarching, like what are you trying to say? Like, do you want to? If I wanted to like hurt you, okay, that's an intention, but it's not action. Like what action am I taking? I want to sting you. I want to fucking melt you. I want to set you on fire. So like if I want to sting you with whatever I'm saying, like how would that, if I'm trying to sting you with my words, how do I portray that?
If I'm going to whip you, like I'm going to visualize my words are like Indiana Jones whip. I'm going to be like sassy with my
like I'm not your dad. Yeah.
But it's a physical motion that's driving the.
It's an objective. Yeah, an objective is the word that there's. What's your objective in this thing? To sting, to whip, to like to hurt them. Like I'm hitting them with a whip. Like I'm not your father. Like that's.
Yeah.
Like well, I'm not your father anyway, so fuck you. Like that's a.
So how would you apply that to your stand-up then?
Well, I mean, if I was trying to think of certain bits. Oh, I mean, with the witch bit, with my wife being, in a coven and stuff. Ultimately, I boiled that down. I was trying to think of like, what am I trying to get across with that? And it's like, I love my wife, but I'm scared.
Okay.
So like, that's my objective with this whole bit. And I want to build that out into like a whole, I think that could be like a whole special. It's like, like my wife being a witch and like how I'm dealing with it. It's going to be called Bewitched. But yeah, so like,
it's a good name.
Yeah. So
someone take that one yet?
I don't think so. But yeah, my objective with that is to be like, I love my wife, but I'm scared. That's the overarching
That's
theme.
a funny lens.
Yeah. I think but that's like, one bit. I don't know if that's my whole persona. I don't know if that'd be like, I couldn't take that into a political joke, maybe abortion. I don't know. I just, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the lens thing is interesting. What would you say your lens is?
I try to be the adventurous economist.
Have you been doing something with those the fucking trail names? Because you went hiking.
Yeah,
and
I was trying to.
Everyone gets goofy trail names, and that's so funny. There's something about that, dude. That's something to do.
People just love the topic because they love the idea of a nickname.
And yeah, everyone wants a cool nickname. That's where you start. Everyone wants a cool nickname.
Because that's a topic.
Yeah.
Now move that to a premise. What's the?
You like hiking. This is, and I love the idea of a subculture there because that's very.
Okay,
I'm letting you in on this secret thing that I do, or opening up this new world to you. And everyone loves a cool nickname. Mine's Nugget.
Nugget. You remember
mine's
that?
Thirst Trap.
Yeah, we talked about that the other day.
Yeah,
Thirst Trap. That's part of our bit. I wrote that in my journal notebook earlier when I was at your
Yeah, well,
show.
that's going to be my name now. So
Thirst Trap.
Yeah.
That's your trail name.
Buddy Thirst Trap. So there's that.
Let me run some stuff then. Can I run?
Yeah.
Because I was free writing about this.
Okay,
and
cool.
I remember, I was like, okay, when do I remember nicknames? I remember nicknames in 6th grade.
Yeah, when you're a
and
kid.
the 7th graders had nicknames. And then one guy's name was Cabbage. I was like, that was so freaking cool. And they called him Cabbage because he was farting a lot after he ate cabbage. Like that's not a great
perfect
quality.
way to start. Yeah, and as you get older, there are opportunities to recreate your nickname, like your persona. There's something there. That's how I would go with it. I mean, that would be my first thought.
But so this is the best laugh line I have so far. Is like you start saying things like, Thirst Trap and Chubby Checker and Caddyshack and Cuddles are all moving together in their bubble, and they took a 0, and they're hoping to meet up with Worm and Gump and Tall Tail, and just do like the rapid like, blah, blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
and then say like what that means is JD and Chris are moving together in a big group, and
JD lost his wife in a terrible accident, and now he's moving in with.
They call him Bewitched. His channel name is Bewitched.
Yeah, I think that's funny because it sounds funny, but then it's like the reveals. It's like,
oh, that's the real. So you do a reveal.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think like the reveal would be like, oh, my wife left me or something. Something maybe wife died is too harsh, but like my wife left me for somebody else.
There's the curveball.
Yeah, that's the curve. It's like it was actually something very traumatic or whatever.
Oh, so let's turn it into a premise. So we say like trail names sound.
They're fun. They make anything sound fun. Yeah, cool and fun.
But they can be.
They're misleading or
terrible. But
they don't fit everywhere.
Oh, that's a better premise.
Yeah.
Trail names don't fit everywhere, and then
yeah.
See, now we have a premise to we can free write on and like.
Good. You're at a business meeting and like
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So now you're doing cut to or whatever, right?
Yeah. No one wants to sell or to buy insurance from Thirst Trap, or whatever.
Oh yeah.
From Skittles.
No one wants to get their COVID shot from Pocket Snacks.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah, there's something there. Yeah, that's very funny.
The other thing I was working on was I only know people by trail names.
Right.
So if I only know you as Thirst Trap, and then you and I see each other at a
funeral
parole hearing, or
yeah.
I'm like, hey, Thirst Trap. Or
yeah.
I had a buddy was named Wangler.
Yeah. Wangler's trying to get out of a parking ticket, but that's the only way you know him or something. Yeah.
But everyone, I don't even know his name's Scott. And when they say Scott, I don't know who you're talking about. But
yeah. Oh, you mean Wangler?
Wangler.
yeah, that's funny. Yeah, there's something there.
Yeah. So I guess I just need to maybe that's enough to take on stage.
Yeah, I mean for
and
me,
just try it for an open mic.
I'm gonna try it on Saturday.
Okay.
Or Sunday.
Let's do it. Are you going to Western Sky Sunday?
Maybe we'll see.
Okay, if you commit to go, I'll go.
Well, we already kind of have dinner plans with somebody, so it depends on how long it takes.
All right.
I can late lunch, early dinner plans. So yeah, we'll see.
The other bit I was trying to run with is like every unique culture has its own vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
And so like you have like you ever stuff by climbing culture? I was like they're like always talking about putting nuts in and taking whippers and doing it at open run, like unbolted or something like that. I wonder if there's something there.
Yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, you take a bunch of climbing people to a gay bar and they're talking about taking whippers before they get their nuts in. Yeah.
So I'm sitting next to a couple at a bar. I don't know whether they're climbers or into like BDM.
Yeah, that's very funny.
And then you figure out what the act out is that. I
act out.
I did it without, or not the dialogue.
I did it without protection. The stool bit. Yeah.
I took a whipper from the bottom because they say bottom a lot, and then whipper and a run out that was naked, and I got a nut in there, and I feel like there's something like a lot of overlap with.
Yeah. Like you're at a dinner party or something. The guy's like, I took a whipper out and blah blah blah, and it's like I don't know if they had a fun weekend or do I call social services? Is he abusing his wife? Yeah. There's something there.
Okay. This is helpful. I can see why riffing off like.
Yeah, it's fun, and yeah, it's enjoyable. I hope the listener thinks so as well. It's a lot of in-depth comedy, but I love it. I mean, I love it, and hopefully, a lot of young comics I think listen to this podcast. So Let
me run another one by you if you don't mind. One more. My my friend called me up and it was Halloween, and she didn't call me up, but text me, but she said that the guy she was with was talking dirty, but he was talking Halloween related dirty talk in bed.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, I was like, there's a premise right there. What was he saying? Like dick or treat, or I don't know. I'm stiff as Frankenstein, or I'm sure there's a lot of like.
I think the bit is more how you're terrible at dirty talk.
Well, here, that's not. That's not bad.
Yeah,
that's the whole premise there too, right? We took a topic, turned it into a premise. I'm bad at dirty talk, and then
it turns out I'm just terrible at dirty talk.
The audience wants a bunch of examples.
Yeah. You do a couple examples, and even if they're bad, you'd be like, turns out I'm just bad at dirty talk.
And there's your tag. There's your point. Okay. The line he said, what's it called?
The cap, or like
the capper.
Yeah,
that's the
topper, the cap. Yeah.
Okay.
Just a way to end it. That's like the.
And that gets the laugh.
End. Yeah, I think that could be a good.
Kind of repeats the premise a little bit, but like.
Yeah. After you have your meat and potatoes in the middle there.
Okay. But he didn't have any good Halloween stuff.
Yeah, I'm not good at dirty talk either, dude.
All he said
was... I come immediately if she says anything.
Which related? Thirst trap?
Anything, I mean, are you a fan of the dirty talk? I think you got to kind of, for that one, you got to be into it. Although it never comes, I mean, I think a common joke is like, people are so into it, they just say ridiculous things because they're in the moment.
Yeah. But his dirty talk wasn't even like good. All he said was, "You're a dirty Halloween slut." That's not clever at all.
But I came immediately.
But that would work with any modern holiday.
Sure, yeah.
You're a dirty Arbor Day slut.
Yeah, I don't think he's very original. I wouldn't say he is original, but kinky. Yeah.
You're a dirty North American Western Migratory Bird Day slut.
You're a dirty Earth Day slut.
Yeah. There's something there?
Yeah, there's something there. Dirty Columbus Day hut.
Yeah.
He's
Veterans Day.
Canceled.
Veterans Day slut.
Yeah, if you said Columbus Day, then you're like racist.
Yeah. I would stay away from that one.
Yeah.
Veterans Day, service. Let me service the service members or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, I think two guys that are terrible at dirty talk trying to get into it, not the best. But yeah, I think the common trope in that is like, it never makes sense because you're just in the moment and you're like, yeah, let me cream your corn or whatever. That's like,
right.
I think that's like a Joe List has a bit or something like that where she's like, your dick feels like corn, and he's like, I'm just so into it. It's like, I'm gonna keep. That might be Dane Cook actually.
Yeah, I've heard that one. Yeah, cream like, corn or whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess like we've at least got to a premise. I think some open micers have a topic, but they haven't got into a premise that's easier to get into their lens. Like you changed that dirty talk as a topic, but you got it into we're bad at it. So now we have a premise.
Yeah, I guess that's I'm bad at things. I want to be good. I try hard, but I'm bad. I fail at them. That's kind of maybe like I want to be cool. Like a lot of things when I was a kid is I was trying to be cool, but it's cool is so vague. First I was like, cool is so specific because you can be like, oh, Elvis is cool, Bruce Lee's cool. Even like the things you think are cool are dumb to somebody else. So like that's like the thing is like I want to be Elvis, Bruce Lee, like these guys I thought were the peak of cool. Someone else is like, those guys are fucking gay as hell. No, I don't know, whatever, That's a character I'm doing, guy who says gay in not the right context.
Do it again, but don't use your chin.
Yeah. Those guys hell.
See? Associate with a body part.
Yeah.
But we moved from, that's why, that really helped me in the last year doing comedy is to really see topic, but get the premise.
Interesting. I like the filtering through your lens because then you can take anything and filter it through your lens is something I heard early on, and I guess that's something I've really latched onto. But again, I don't know what the fuck my lens is. Like I don't know. It's hard to nail myself down. And then when I ask other people, I don't like what they say. So
oh, there you go. That's a premise there. Yeah. Aloof, ugly, impotent. Go with that one.
Yeah, how does cuck doesn't really translate to stage? I don't know. So I'm gonna stand here while someone else does my jokes.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's not a bad bit there.
Then you gotta have a partner. The whole thing.
But that's a good bit. I'm gonna have and then have Patrick come up and do your set for you while you just sit in the corner like like stewing.
Yeah, that's fun. Anyway.
But let's see, what were we talking about?
Yeah, we were talking about the burro racing.
Ooh, so that's why I got new books since I was last here, buddy.
Oh, you wrote a new book?
Kid's book.
Oh, okay.
Burro racing. Let me pass it to you.
Sick. Yeah.
So I read a kid's book since last year.
Is it on audio yet?
It's not. It's for the children. But I love cowboy poetry, and I'm very heavily influenced by the poetry of Robert Service. And
A burro named Bedford.
Burro named Bedford, yeah. And so it's about Chris and me hooking like.
You are Chris.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, open up the first page with where the burro wants to be a stand-up comedian. So it's like the.
Oh God. Yeah.
So there he wants to. He has a lot of aspirations to climb mountains and write books and tell comedy.
Okay.
And then next page shows him just unmotivated.
Wow. Did you do the animation?
No, same cartoonist that did my cartoons for my econ book.
Okay.
He's a cartoonist out of Canada I work with.
Where you're like, what's the best way to get me in a better economic place? Write a children's book.
Yeah.
Or did you really feel the need to write a children's book?
I was feeling like I liked writing children's books. I liked writing poetry.
Okay.
And wrote a lot of it at Western Sky.
Wearing a hat. That's great.
Yeah. I see my hat there.
Awesome, yeah.
But the love story is to do hard things and lean into your identity.
Okay.
And so Burro, the Bedford, the Burro runs into this through hiker, and she teaches him how to lean into your identity.
Okay.
So if you want to be a hiker, think of yourself as a hiker. It's a lot of it's like the message is good habits, do hard things. If you think you can run 20 miles, you can't think you can run 20 miles. You can do it by working up to it.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the message for like, I think third graders, fourth graders.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Where are you selling it at? Are you self-published?
It's on Amazon, yeah.
It's
on Amazon.
Probably get it in like Mutiny or something like that.
What's Mutiny?
Mutiny's a local bookstore, comic book shop, used vinyl, things like that.
Okay, I will think about that.
Yeah, they just moved out to Inglewood. They were on Broadway. You never went out to that mic? Such a good mic.
Which one's that one?
Well, Mutiny used to do a mic on Tuesdays. It was a staple in the comedy community when I started down on Broadway. But it was like down this. I was on the corner from Irish Rover. Have you been to that one?
Yep. That's the Monday night one.
Yeah. I think the next step for you's got to be like start mingling with the
Start
comics.
hitting more mics. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to start getting seen, being seen. Get your name. You got to get sticky. You know that business term. You got to get sticky in people's minds when they're like, "Who do I need to book?" That's new and good.
You can't just do that right in an hour by yourself. In your living room.
Yeah. Part of it's a big networking thing. A lot of it's networking. But I mean, you're older, so I mean, I think people just assume you have responsibilities and stuff. Like real big boy jobs and stuff. So they might be like, "Oh, when could you fit into this?"
Oh, interesting. Because I
wonder instead of being like, "Hey, can you come do my show last minute?" They'll be like, "No, Stiffler's got a
professor.
He's a professor.
Give him some lead time."
Yeah. They might just start giving you headlining shows right off the bat.
He uses words like lucubration and thirst trap. He's smart,
dude. I fucking think you do well at Comedy Works because you're exactly what they're looking for, man.
In what way?
Non-threatening, handsome white guy, tall. Can hold. You can hold your own on stage. You command authority. If you tell people to fucking
with the hat or without the hat,
both. I think you can do both. I mean, I guess I haven't seen you much without the hat. So
that's true.
But yeah, I think you do well there, bud.
I have the advantage of I have a lot of stage time. I have the 4 hours a day performing, professoring or whatever, in front of people.
So it's a different skill, though. I mean,
100. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, come on, teaching to a class versus getting up on and doing stand up. It's a different animal.
Yeah,
these kids have to be there. I mean, it's and like you're trying to give information. It's a different setup. Like if you're funny, that's a bonus.
Yeah, correct. Right. That's the advantage of the economist, right? I can be one laugh every 5 minutes is crushing.
Yeah.
As an economist. Yeah, but that's crickets.
You're not even gonna get your first joke in at Comedy Works if you do it that way.
Right. 2 minute slot. My mic goes dead.
You'll get to 4 minutes very quickly. You just gotta do the first 2 sets.
You'll get 2 of 2.
Well, yeah, I'm sure your newbie set, just see if you'll show up and can talk on stage. That's all. That's basically why you get the 2 minutes.
Okay.
Then you'll get bumped to a C set immediately. You'll get 3 minutes.
So C is 3, okay.
Yeah, and you'll probably only have to do that once. And then you'll get 4 minutes, and then that's kind of where people hang out for a little while.
Interesting, okay.
I mean, everyone used to hang out at a C set when I started. C set was where the purgatory of...
and then you walk out and And you say you're going to beat everybody up in the audience, and then you just lose them.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know if that would have went over well his first newbie set, but yeah. But bar shows are different. The bar vibe, very different. It almost is like, you could make it into like a more of a combative situation because you're trying to fight for the attention of people at the bar. That's not. I mean, that feels like more of an open mic thing. If people aren't paying attention. But at all those,
good point. Okay.
At all those book shows. Especially the ones that the rotating tap ones, people are there for those shows specifically. They've been going long enough. The audience in Denver has been trained well enough. I think we have good audience members. Like we have good comedy fans who come to multiple things, so they know how to behave. So it's not a knife fight out there. It's like that's why it struck me as so aggressive. I'm like, these people are here to watch it. Like, why would you?
Because it wasn't an ambush show. People were there to watch the comedy show at the brewery.
So that might have been another reason why it was so jarring. And be like, why is he being like that? But that's not my style. So I definitely want to be more on your side. Although maybe I'm a little more arrogant than like, hey, let me be your buddy.
And then that could be a persona, right?
Yeah, I think I think I'm coming with a little more arrogance. A lot of my stuff is like, hey, I'm trying to be clever on stage than just trying to be like a vibe. Like a fun vibe.
What if you turned it and said, I have to be arrogant because it's the only time I can be arrogant because when I'm at home with my wife, she's a covenant or whatever you were saying. What was the persona you were thinking of?
I love her, but I'm scared.
Yeah, scared. That's it. Yeah, I love her, but I'm scared. That's a tag right there. You can get that out in the first 10 seconds, and that's your persona.
I don't know if it's the best way to intro it.
But is there a way to get that persona? If you're only doing 5, how do you get the persona out in the first 30 seconds?
I mean, I think for me, it comes out just a lot in like what that first joke is. Like what you're joking about.
I had
Andreas does a great job with like one of his first bits is like, I'm peanut butter, or like my name's Andreas, but my friends call me peanut butter. It's because I'm smooth and I kill little white kids.
Okay, so you can get a flavor of his comedy right away.
Yeah, I mean it's right there on Front Street. Patrick does a lot of stuff about like, oh, I'm a dad, but like I'm still kind of like pervy in a way. I don't know, because he does a lot of sex stuff.
Okay,
but
then
but you take it because he's like, I'm a dad, but I also have scheduled sex with my wife. Next time I'm gonna have sex is Thursday at 5:00.
Okay, and then that's persona right away. He's a dad who's loose.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's something about like certain people, they can get away with saying like darker things, but like they just have their vibe is such a playful that they can get Jesselnick. But Patrick can say some terrible things but get away with it because I don't know, there's something about his vibe. It's just like a funner vibe he's bringing.
Okay.
But if I'm like, if I said some of those things, it's like, I don't know, it doesn't come out the same way.
So if you had to give Patrick comedy lens, 3 words.
A dad, dirty, funny. I don't know. Yeah, he's
got to schedule
because
he's so busy with
dad, stoner maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. He smokes a lot, but I don't know. Andreas, I don't know. Yeah, he's got more of like an edge to him. He's got more of like he loves like a wrestling thing as well. So he kind of has more of a. He's more of a heel.
Okay. Bad guy.
Yeah, but not like terrible. I mean, he's likable, but like not. He's not trying to be your friend either. I don't know, but he does. It's not like off-putting. I'm bad with this. I don't know. It's hard for me to boil it down, which I do think that serves anybody. I mean, even when you're doing like if you done screenwriting stuff, they're like you have to boil it down to a tagline.
Okay.
Or even just saying like, oh, it's like this meets this. It's like Die Hard in a mall. That's fucking whatever movie. Everything was like Die Hard on a bus. That's speed. You gotta really boil it down for these pitches. And they suggest that when you're trying to like write a screenplay as well, because that's your objective. That's like your overarching thing, like when we were talking about acting earlier.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you think about that when you're writing your book? Like, what's the?
Yeah, a lot of it's like writing copy that you want to tell because I'm working on my next book coming out next month about my Colorado Trail.
Yeah, dude, you're a machine.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of the Colorado Trail book. It's gonna be called Trail Headspace.
Okay.
Finding my best self on the Colorado Trail. But working with pros that tell you like how to do the copy on the back of your book or what you put on your Amazon is you should pay a pro to do that because they know how to do like, you need to write it so like the audience immediately knows it's a speed, it's Die Hard on a plane or whatever, but also what they can take away, the benefits they get right away. So they always say like, don't talk about the features of your book, talk about the benefits to the audience. So you don't pitch that Burrow book don't pitch it as a book about habits, pitch it as this is your opportunity as a grandfather to have a really good, fun conversation with your second grader.
Okay.
And so there's like that type way of pitching stuff that I've learned to how you write the back of your book or how you even write your Amazon description.
Yeah, that's a whole different skill. Even just recently, I've been using ChatGPT to do the descriptions for my podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, so like, I mean, this is some nerdy ass shit for the podcast.
Yeah, let me see it.
Stuff.
So what do you?
But it's like so different from what. So I kind of had just like a very regular template that I use all the time for past episodes. Like this week, JD chats with Paul Caroli. He, who he is. He's the executive producer, CityCast Denver. Topics discussed include but are not limited to. And then I just take 3 topics that I thought were fun from the show.
And what are you talking
put them
about?
in there. Yeah. And then remember, like, rate and review or whatever. But I put it in ChatGPT and I was like, hey, help me create this description. And I put the transcript of the whole episode in there. Yeah. And so that it spit out this week, JD welcomes back Harrison Garcia for an in-depth conversation about music's transformative power. They explore impacts of karaoke culture, what it's like to host at Western Sky Bar and Tap Room. So it's just a little bit more, I don't know. So it's hitting these bullet points in a different way.
And writing a little differently than maybe you'd write? Or?
Yeah. But I mean, all this stuff, I was like, keep SEO in mind, things like that. So at first I only titled this episode, just because of band jams with Harrison Garcia. But it's like, okay, you want to, there's no like searchable words in there. So it's
what it changed it to.
So so it added. It's like, it gave me a bunch of different examples, but it's like if you want, you could just add these to the end of it because I said just because of band jams ... rock, pop, and karaoke stories with Harrison Garcia.
But that maximizes search engine.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's interesting.
So you're gonna put dirty talk in our episode description?
We might. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Right wing
thirst trap.
Yeah, thirst trap. Trumper? Question mark?
Question mark?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be like, is ranked choice voting ending our democracy? Question mark?
Yeah, question mark. Yeah.
I mean, it's shitty, but like that's what gets people to click on YouTube. I mean, it's a shitty that's how the algorithm works.
Right.
But, it's like, are we playing that game or are we not? Like, do I want to be a successful, have a successful podcast?
You have to play the game.
You got to play the game. You got to do it. Or or just be happy. Like we were talking last time. It's like, be happy being an open micer then. Because that's, because it's either get in or get out.
Is the same with Instagram?
I mean, I've been thinking a lot more towards YouTube stuff.
Okay.
Because like, I mean, all my thumbnails are this now. I've been doing more of the like, oh no, things.
And is this trial and error, or are you actually
trial and error stuff? Yeah.
See what?
I guess I could upload an image to ChatGPT, but I mean, I haven't started that just yet. Because before it was just stuff like this, like a picture of both of us. And then
right. I remember the last time. Yeah.
Yeah. And so now I've been going towards like, okay, at the end of the podcast, I'll be like, hey, make a face to the camera so I could use that as a clean image to cut out and put on the, and I'm just copying the Theo Von's, thumbnails right there, which isn't the, big name episode, simple, simple and clean.
Got it. Okay.
And like Rogan's is a little different, but he's been around so long, he doesn't have to play the game as much. They do a little bit, but I mean, it's not like Rogan can he doesn't have to have a fun thumbnail or something that needs to get people's attention because he's already got the audience,
Yeah.
So it's just,
there's so much of stuff like, you can have great material, but if you're not figuring out
presenting it well,
presenting it out and getting out and getting views and getting eyeballs and
it's not going to get, it's just not going to get the eyeballs. But yeah.
Right.
But a lot of stuff there. They didn't ask you what your Instagram followers were or anything when you tried to get your book published?
I did. Did I tell you that story?
No, I think that was something.
Yeah, trying to get a book publisher or a book agent because a lot of the big publishers won't accept unsolicited manuscripts. So you have to be with an agent. And then I was trying to get an agent, and they basically first question was how many.
They want to know what your audience is.
Correct.
So how would you play that game? Did they give you any suggestions or things to do to get the audience so that you could get an agent?
No.
Who ideally would help you find an audience, but they want you to do all the work.
Yeah, I guess it's a game. But like, do you ever do, like, how big is your following on Instagram?
I mean, I
And do you
I
drive?
have like 1,000 followers, I think.
But do you
That's
post
about
like,
it.
are you doing skits, or are you doing skits that like can be shared?
The
Or something?
closest thing I'm doing to that is just the reels of the podcast.
So the reels can be shared, and that can give you a little bit of a bump.
Ideally, yeah.
But if you partnered up with some comics around here, and we do some skits,
some sketches. Yeah, I tried that when I first was doing comedy. I was trying to get people to do sketches and stuff, but it's just a lot more work to try and get everybody together and to buy into one idea.
yeah,
Get them all together. The scheduling to get everybody together to do stuff. Thinking of ideas, it's a whole thing. Oh yeah, I mean, I have under 1,000 followers, which ain't shit in the game, but.
have you ever done sketch writing or?
Yeah, I mean, I did a little bit. Like, I mean, I have a couple sketches. I had to take it down when I wanted to get more serious about my YouTube channel because I just threw a copywritten song over it. It was like about roommates having bad roommates or whatever. I did with like Georgia and Nick and
Yeah.
Crawford was in it. Anthony Crawford was in it, and Zach Moss. It was just like it's like a whole production to try and get anybody to do anything, and it's just a lot of work. And I guess I didn't see enough return on it, or I didn't think that it was worth it. So I just kind of stopped. I mean, that's what kind of got me out of video production is like, it's just so much work to get everybody together. And you need to collaborate with audio people and video people and, all these things. It was a lot harder 10 years ago than, even this is a lot of work, but it's manageable for me versus, if we were on the move on location somewhere.
Right.
It'd be a little bit harder because you want somebody ideally working audio, listening to it while you're shooting, and then doing the video as somebody looking at the monitors.
So you wouldn't do anything like I have my iPhone shooting you have your iPhone, and we just could do a couple of quick scenes and like patch it together in a quick little
I guess if the idea was good enough, if I thought it was funny enough, I mean, I wouldn't just want to do that.
I was just looking for like I'm always looking for like exercises or different ways to just work on comedy or write, whether sketch would be a fun thing to do. Or do you take much of your bits on stage and put them on like short clips like everyone's doing on Instagram?
I mean, I did on Instagram. Yeah. I've done that. Yeah, and those are definitely the most viewed reels I've had.
Right.
I have, but I mean, it's like 1,000 some odd. Not a lot. All right, we were going to talk about a little bit about the
burro
voting.
Racing.
Yeah, burro racing, voting. Anything else you thought was funny about that?
About the talking town halls and voting?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see what else was on there. The veterinarian thing was the most contentious. I got the most questions about like people were like freaking out about like who's going to give an inoculation to their Mr. Pringles, their cat, and they cared less about taxes and guns on ammo or taxes on ammo and Tabor stuff and abortion and
like someone with a bachelor's degree,
right? Or master's, yeah.
Yeah, but right now it's just someone with a bachelor's.
Right. Or that's actually a doctor. I think that the beef is that the actual veterinarian does it.
Okay.
And people don't like the idea of someone like below a veterinarian.
Yeah.
Giving Mr. Scrambles an inoculation or I don't know.
But yeah, so you did a burro racing again?
Twice. I did 2 races this year.
Oh wow.
I did the one in what was that? Up your way toward Weld County. Frederick? Where's Frederick? How's Frederick? Where's Frederick?
Frederick kind of by Broomfield.
Okay.
Yeah, it's north.
Ran the Frederick Burro one. It was fun. It was
in between here and like Loveland.
Okay. Flat race. Nice 6 mile, 7 mile race around the lake there.
So you have to have a donkey that has a couple some gear on it.
Yeah. Pan, a gold pan, a pick, and shovel.
Okay.
And it can be a little gardener trowel or as long as
so it doesn't have to be like a legit something they would have used back in the day.
Back in the mining days, but that's one of the rules of burro racing, and you can't ride your donkey. And you always have your rope. You can't, if you let go of your donkey, you got to go grab them and come back to where they ran off the track and get back on the track. And I ran Spiff. Spiff is the burro I run with. Ran 6 miles great with him. 20 feet in front of the finish line, he completely locked up.
Just didn't want to move?
Didn't want to move. Was completely terrified of, there was a festival there at Frederick. So they had one of those generators and like a food truck. Terrified of that running engine of like the generator and just didn't move. And so I'm like the biggest crowd of the whole race is watching me.
Trying to get him?
Yeah, he wouldn't budge. So one of the race directors ended up giving a couple kids and they got behind Spiff and said, on the count of 3, we're going to make a bunch of hup, hup. And then he finally you got across the finish line, but all the fans were laughing at me. So it was fun. It was funny. But I have the great photo on my Instagram of like
trying to pull
and he's just like locked up. Locked up.
So were you winning and then you lost that way?
I wasn't winning. I do it for I finished middle of the pack, just do it for fun.
People are very competitive with it. I mean, do you win money or?
Yeah, there's a decent purse. Top 3 win several $100s.
Okay.
And they split it with the borough.
Okay. Yeah, for like food and shit.
Yeah, you're supposed to. I think it's customary. The winning runner splits the purse with. Say they borrow their. Like I don't own a borough. I borrow it from a friend named Jessica who lives in Loveland, and she has Spiff and Spaceman, and she pimps Spaceman out for beverage burros. That's like a new thing. Have you ever been to a wedding where they have a donkey?
No.
Yeah, they've put coolers on the donkey, and you can just grab your beer right out of the little donkey's saddle here. Beverage burros.
Interesting. Yeah, I've been to 2 weddings, destination weddings this year. None of them had a beverage burro.
Sans burro.
One did have a gelato truck come, or gelato thing, which was great.
Nice.
Shout out to Stephanie. That's what she had in her Italy wedding.
I was trying to write some bits about burro racing because I think that's a funny.
That's also very interesting. Yeah, you got a lot of interesting things about you. You could do a lot of material out.
Yeah,
but I think you got to start getting out to those mics, dude. I mean, if you want to make a run at it, that's the thing. Do you want to do that? Is that like a goal for you to get more shows and be on more comedy stuff? Or
my comedy is all. So I lean in the economics professor lens, and so a lot of my bits are like teaching economics, but teaching economics and kind of weird left-hand turns by. Farting on elevators or like.
Yeah, so you don't want to do more comedy.
Ideally, I would love to be able to get some like reels that are like funny that would spread on Instagram, but it would be a way to promote my econ book.
Okay,
would be a goal of mine.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, get on some. Well, get on some local shows. I mean, I guess that's how you gotta, and then shoot it yourself.
Yeah, and then
get a camera. And use the footage.
Get the footage and get the good audio.
Yeah. If it's funny, it could be semi good audio. It could be decent audio.
Yeah. I guess that was all I started to get into comedy was to try to promote the econ book, and so material was signaling theory, but apply it to online dating and talk about insurance pools, but talk about how silly examples. So maybe I was flirting with a tag of like if you didn't laugh, maybe you learned something, or if you learned something and you laughed, it was a bonus. Or
yeah, that's fun. So the next book is Finding Yourself on the Colorado Trail.
Finding my best self, yeah.
Did you think you did that, or is it like a mystery?
100%.
Fun. What was out there that you couldn't find here?
Social media. You're not social media, so you're away from just how negative everything is in social media, and just like everything that's engaging is enraging. And so if you get yourself away from that, and you're hiking for a week with no service, your brain just settles, man. And then you're doing something that's silly, or you're getting great exercise. You're up with the sun, down with the sun. Kind of have like a trail family, which is like kind of your own tribe. And so I think if you look at the literature of happiness, finding a tribe, finding something that you're working toward a long-term goal.
Yeah, have a consistent sleep schedule.
As all that is like forced upon you on the trail. And so a lot of the book is kind of describing how do I take the good things of like healthy habits on the trail.
You weren't like tripping on shrooms the whole time? That's not the whole thing? It wasn't like ayahuasca trips and DMT?
High on Rocky Mountains. That's it.
That's it? You didn't have some cold brewskis that you just threw in the river and then got them at the end?
Ooh, that's a good move. I hit breweries when he got to town. So you look forward to that after 6 days of hiking and taking a shower. And it just readjusts your like whole, you don't complain about things. Suddenly your cider ranch dressing is not a big deal when you haven't had running water for the last 6 days.
So really deprive yourself, and then you just have more gratitude, huh?
Yeah, gratitude's a good way. I mean, I don't think you're being flippant, right? But I think it's pretty simple.
Recipe.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't want to deprive
Sleep
myself.
on the ground tonight and shit in a hole for a week, and then
appreciate your bed tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's doing the hard thing is what people don't want to do. I mean, avoiding discomfort is a big motivation in just human existence. So.
Well, going back to the other conversation about is this speed on a boat? I try to pitch this book as like, this is the comfort crisis meets Becoming Odessa, which Becoming Odessa is a pretty popular Appalachian Trail memoir.
Okay.
And then the comfort crisis is what you're talking about, is the kind of a recent book about pushing your comfort zones.
Yeah, but I like the trappings of my life. I think it's fun. You think it'd be worth it more for me to go hiking? You think I'd be happier?
I tell people that you should give it 4 days. There's something magical about the 4th day in a tent.
They say the same thing about fasting.
Really?
Yeah.
No one gets to the 4th day?
Give it a couple days.
Yeah. Well, it's like, here, watch this Netflix show. Well, it doesn't get good till season 6. So just force yourself through the first 6 seasons. But there's something about, maybe it's probably similar with fasting. You get to that 4th day where it's like enlightenment and like suddenly like the first day you're hiking, you're like, this sucks. I miss my social media. 2nd day, your brain starts to settle. 3rd day, you're still kind of like, I want to get home. I want to get beer and burger. And the 4th day, it's like, it felt like the forest was my home.
It's like a detox for sure.
Yeah. Detox is a good way of saying it.
Which detoxes could kill you as well. So, I don't know. Yeah. It's I guess that's that part of me where I'm like, yeah, you're not better than me. See, a little bit of that's coming out. Like,
that could be.
I want to be a little combative about it, but curmudgeon. I think a lot of being like a Larry David-esque
friendly curmudgeon, but like,
yeah, but don't hold the door open for me because I don't need to.
Yeah,
I need to like brush up against your body when I'm trying to get out the door. Yeah,
that's a good angle. And then you could do you could that ties into your reading and audiobooks kind of bit. How else could you apply that? Or if you had to word map this one, if you're looking for ways to develop this bit.
Curmudgeon, friendly curmudgeon,
but you feel like there's a little bit of like, I went to junior college, but I'm still super smart. And you're talking to someone who went to Yale or something like that.
I mean, I went to a regular college.
I didn't mean to insulting you. I'm just saying like
you could say I got my bachelor's degree, but still not from Yale. Still the same.
Yeah. So like you have that like, I'm still super smart and I read the book, but I don't have a Yale sweatshirt or something.
Yeah.
How would you
There's something there.
Personify that as a comedy lens?
Yeah, maybe we'll have to take this one off mic, but I've indulged you in my comedy career long enough. I appreciate it.
You're gonna start charging me now?
I mean, not indulge you isn't the right word, but I think I've talked about myself quite a bit, so. Yeah, so when can people get this book? Where can people see you next performing?
Hopefully, if you're at the mic on Sunday, I'll join you.
Okay. You gotta spread your wings, bud. You're a little baby bird.
That's I know. You just need to really push me out of the nest.
Yeah, that's your comedy name, baby bird.
Instead of just being fed from the baby bird. Maybe that's what we should do. Trail names, but with the open mic community,
comedy
the mic
names.
community.
I'll be like Dingus and
fumbles with a microphone or
Dingus
runs the light or
stick up butt. Holds the mic like it's a cock. Yeah, that'd be. They get long.
They're part of the trail family.
Yeah. But yeah, so possibly see it in an open mic somewhere.
Yeah, hopefully my next book coming out in December, Trail Headspace, will be on Amazon, and it's kind of a cross between a speed and a trail memoir, but it's like half trail memoir and half wellness guide. That's what I'm trying to pitch it as.
You're like the second hiker guy that I've had on that's written a book. So maybe there's something about taking a hike where you're like, maybe I should write a book.
Yeah.
What do you think the crossover is with that?
A ton. Every single person wants to write a book. That's because they want
their experience.
Yeah. Okay. It's a good way of saying like the convincing themselves they're going to make money and take 5 months off to walk across.
Interesting.
Entire continent or walk across from Mexico to Canada.
Well, I hope it works for you, bud. Appreciate you coming on. I'll let you sign us off however you see fit. Say Wakanda forever, be excellent to each other, and
I never thought about sign off. Like,
well, we did last time. So
did we sign off last time? What did I say last time? Think about your identity. You want to do hard things, establish an identity, and chase that identity.
Chase that identity.
Huh?
All right. Thank you.